please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
To those guests who've just joined us, welcome. Our next stop is the Magic Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching our station at the entrance to Main Street, USA, gateway to the 7 scene lands of the Magic Kingdom.
Welcome aboard the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. This is Justin Monorail, and this is episode number 187 of the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. It is February 5th, 2024. It is officially Black History Month, and we're going to start celebrating that on the podcast today. But before we get to that, and the news, and everything else that's to come on today's Monday Morning Monorail podcast, let me welcome in a Monorail co-host. Just one today, but he's the one that keeps you on your toes. He's the man. He's the myth. He's the legend. It's Landon the Dawes Doane. Landon, welcome back to the Monorail.
Thank you for that intro question mark. Hi, everybody. Coming from the Isolation Station of Love, it's me, it's the DOZ, Landon the Dawes Doane. I've lived in my house for over a week straight at this point, and it is phenomenal. So much so, I'm actually thinking about making it wait, no, actually, I'm getting ready to go on vacation where I'm not going to be living in my house. But anyway, hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's a Monday morning, and you know what that means. Remember, I used to do that. That's neat.
That's the thing you used to do on Dawes Does Disney. And listen, we finally got the logo changed to the Monday Morning Monorail logo on Apple Podcasts. So don't take us backwards, because I'm afraid that something's gonna. It's almost like don't move, don't blink.
Yeah, don't say anything. Apple just finally figured it out. They're gonna hear it, be like, oh wait. They're doing Dawes Does Disney. All right, guys, bring back the old logo. They're going backwards again. Yeah.
Up, Chuck. Up, Chuck. Up, Chuck. A little Muppet Vision 3D
right,
reference for you.
So you don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody knows what that means. And speaking of nobody knowing things, I want to start today's show off with a reminder to all of the fair listeners of the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. You know we love you. We're glad you're here. I think most of you know what you get when you come to this show, but maybe there's those that don't. And periodically...
jokes and raw sex appeal.
Yeah, those two. Those are a bonus. Periodically, I like to remind people, as we did early in the days of the Monday Morning Monorail podcast, that we are not experts. We don't know everything. We just love theme parks, particularly Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, etc. And we love talking about it. I don't consider us to be a news program. I consider us to be a editorial program. We look at the headline, because we're not breaking news. No. Well,
there was that episode we dropped earlier this week talking about Epic Universe, but even then we weren't breaking news.
No.
We were just talking about breaking news.
Exactly. We have friends that have much better connections than us. They are actually connected to good sources, and they break the news, and we let them do that. And then we talk about it in a humorous and somewhat insightful way. We like to prognosticate here on the show. We like to make guesses. Sometimes those guesses come to fruition, which is always really fun.
Once
and we like to pat ourselves on the back when it happens, but it doesn't happen that often.
We even like to pat ourselves on the back when it doesn't happen.
and then we pat each other on the butts too and say good game.
Good game. Good game.
You're allowed to do that in a sports context. But yeah,
we call each other coach.
The reason I bring all this up is because last week I made a statement that was just wildly incorrect, and I know that it disappointed all of the Monday Morning Monorail family when they heard me say this thing that was so wrong. They grasped their pearls. Some of them turned off the podcast. People fainted. I'm just hoping that people weren't driving when they heard it.
Dear Lord, I hope not either.
Yeah, I hope it didn't cause any accidents. I hope that there were no medical emergencies. I could go on and on, but at this point, I'm just sort of putting it off. I'll tell you what it was. Last week, I was talking about my experience with my first Good to Go day at the Magic Kingdom, and I made this ridiculous statement that it was an early entry day at the Magic Kingdom. Well, it did not take long for people to jump all over that and tell me, Justin Monorail, don't you forget, every day at every park is an early entry day if you are a Walt Disney World Resort guest. And that's true. The policy has changed. I don't know what to say, but I'm sorry for the error. I'm sorry for the hurt that this caused anyone. I'm sorry for the shock and the terror. I'm sorry if you did think that we were perfect and that everything we said was true and that we were experts on everything all the time. I'm sorry to burst that bubble at the end of the day. Well, I won't speak for Landon. Everything he says could still be true, but
it is.
It is, yeah. But definitely not me, and I think Steffers would probably say definitely not her as well. So anyway, from the bottom of Justin Monorail's heart, I really apologize, and I'm really hoping that I take that extra production step of putting some sentimental music underneath this apology. So while you're hearing it, maybe it's going to gently fade out right now. We'll get to business, but yeah.
Some stellar production work you did there, bud. I appreciate that. And on behalf of Landon the Doane, if that bothered you, seriously, shut up. This is just a podcast about theme parks.
I will say, I do hate to
be okay.
I do hate to get things wrong. I really do. Especially when we're trying to help people and
I know. And I'm just jorshing around, guys.
Yeah. So I get that people do tend to there are people who are going to listen to this and they take, advice from us sometimes, and they do listen to us for the latest news and what's going on in the parks and that sort of thing. I hope that we do help you plan vacations. So anyway, I do realize that was wrong. I realized it when I was editing the show, and then I forgot about it, and then Jeffers pointed out to me again. After he was the first one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then many more people jumped in. So I appreciate all of that. So a little peek-see behind the curtains, because I too am not infallible, and I have made mistakes on podcasts and have edited podcasts. When you realize you made that mistake on the podcast, did you try and chop it out, or did you go back and listen and be like, there is no way I can chop it out and to salvage the conversation that we were having, and you just had to accept, I'm just going to have to take my lumps on this one? I'll tell you, I definitely considered editing around it, but I'll tell you why at the time I didn't, and then I just totally forgot about it. Because I think it's important that people know that we make mistakes on this show, and I think that it's important that people realize that that's okay and that's just kind of part of it, and to embrace that. And accept it. I'm not perfect. I don't think I'm perfect. And so it's okay that happened. We have in the past gotten reviews on Apple where people said, well, this particular host doesn't know what they're talking about because they get this thing wrong. Well, guess what? We all get things wrong all the time. I guarantee you any podcast you listen to gets things wrong. It just happens. We don't mean to, but it happens. So
1000%. It's if you know what I do for a living, I talk for a living on the radio. If you talk long enough, eventually you're going to say something that is incorrect, that is factually wrong. That is just how things work. We don't want to say things that are wrong. That's just the way things work. We do our best. We try our best to give you the best information, the most correct information we can present. But sometimes, we just have a whoopsie poopsie. So,
yeah.
When it does happen, we apologize. But hopefully when we do have as I said, whoopsie poopsie, we can make you smile and laugh along the way.
Yeah. And I'm not mad at anybody for pointing it out either. If you were a person on the Discord who said, hey, Justin, just by the way, if you texted me personally, because that happened as well. Thank you.
Somebody texted you? Okay, I am furious at whoever that was.
No, it was Tom, and he was... It was Tom from Hyperion Adventures podcast, and he was just looking out for me, and I appreciate that. And then we got several people who thought it was funny to just pile on the Facebook, which is fine.
Okay, well, I cannot be mad at Tom from Hyperion Adventure. Great podcast. Go listen to that. We already have your download, so shuffle on. Go listen to a better podcast than Hyperion Adventure. But everybody else, shame on you.
That's right.
Leave Papa Monorail alone. And Jay, you said you're not perfect. You're perfect enough for me.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And maybe I'll just be perfect enough for a few of you out there. But yeah, okay. Well, that's enough of that silliness.
Wow, what a way to start a podcast.
Yeah. And
are we
now,
still a theme park podcast?
I question it from time to time.
I think a lot of the reviews do as well.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. Hey, I imagine that most people come here are here because they enjoy the banter and the editorializing and all that. And the people that don't, like, they didn't realize what they were getting into. And that's fine.
Yeah, the people that don't left, so suck it.
So anyway, we do. Hey, now, to restate our thesis here, we do love theme parks, and we love talking about the breaking news. We love chatting about Disney, Universal, and we do try to give you the most accurate information that we can. We're going to make mistakes.
Hell yeah.
And we like to give you advice when we have it. So if that's what you came for, but you also like the humor and banter, then hey, you're in the right place. And speaking of that, why don't we jump into the headlines of the week? Yes, friends, it is time to look once again to the headlines from the theme parks around Central Florida and pull those little bits of delicious morsels that you came to hear. What's going on at the parks? We're here to bring it to you. I'm going to start with this particular topic because it's come up before. We've talked about Universal and their security measures and getting through the bag check, the Xray lines. We've talked about SeaWorld. We talked about all sorts of things. Disney making another change, and hopefully it's for the better. Now, right now, I believe that this is just going to be testing at Epcot. But according to blogmickey.com, Disney is going to begin testing bag check Xray machines at the theme parks. Now, if you have gone to Disney recently, what you will have noticed is they've got these smart scanners that you walk through that use AI technology to basically scan your person and also your bags, because you don't have to take your bags off when you walk through them. And they hopefully identify items that are of concern. Now, if that happens, the security guard that's standing at the kiosk with the little tablet will point to you and say, "Sir, I need you to step over, sir, ma'am, whoever. I need you to step over for additional screening right over here." Now, sometimes the additional screening lines can be very, very long because the person that's at that table is taking every bag. They have to take one of the hand metal detectors and scan the person, and then they have to open the bag and dig around in there and see if there's anything of concern in the bag. What I believe is going to be happening now is you will go through the smart scanners, but I don't know if they're going to set the Xray machine beside the smart scanners, and so now we won't be taking our bags through those anymore, or are the Xray machines just going to be for the people that get pulled to secondary screening? I don't know the answer to that yet, but I think we're going to find out pretty soon. To me, it looks like they're using them at secondary screening, and I hope that's what it is, because basically, for me, I'm always looking for a more streamlined entry experience into the parks.
I mean, I will say the last few times that I've gone to Disney, I've been, let me knock on wood and get it far away from the microphone so it doesn't pick up and rattle anybody wearing headphones. The entry hasn't really been all that bad going through security. It's pretty much just always been a walkthrough with what they had. But at the same time, if they're introducing more security implements, kind of echoing what you said, I do hope it's going to be something that's fast.
Yeah.
And it seems like this is going to be a walkthrough. So one would imagine it's going to be fast. And maybe I can report back on this because my trip is coming up in here in less than 10 days at this point, and I got 2 Epcot days, so you know.
That's right. That's appropriate air horn right there.
Right, yeah. Not that I'm excited or anything.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. I think that if it, like I said, if it makes it a smoother process, great. You want it to be you want it to be effective, and
1000%. Yes, safety is the utmost importance in this instance. It's like if Disney had to implement something, and it's like, hey, it's going to make it 2 minutes longer for you to get in the park, but it's going to make it safer. It's like, okay, all right. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think this is going to be a situation where it does make it any longer, let alone 2 minutes like I just threw out in that example. But like I said, safety is of the utmost importance, especially in a park like Epcot where, unfortunately, everybody kind of likes to imbibe in the spirits, and sometimes people like to overindulge.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. So yeah, safety first, but smooth experience is definitely appreciated. Landon, for this one, I want to hop over to Animal Kingdom for just a minute, because since the pandemic, Animal Kingdom has not really ever returned to the after hours or later hours park opening timeframes that it used to have. I mean, at least in the before times, and then a little, there's been some spots here and there in the post-pandemic world where the Animal Kingdom hours have extended after dark, but it's rare nowadays. Usually the Animal Kingdom's closing like 6-7 o'clock. You don't really get a lot of nighttime hours in the park, which is disappointing, because if you had a chance to experience Animal Kingdom after dark, you would know when you went into Pandora, it was like a totally different experience than it was in the daytime. Did you ever get a chance to experience Pandora after dark, Landon?
Never in the after dark time, or excuse me, in the after dark ticketed events where they kept Animal Kingdom open for extended time. But I was fortunate enough on me and the Smoking Hot Girlfriend's last trip down to Disney. We were in Animal Kingdom, and we were down in Florida, I guess, late enough into the year where the sun went down early enough, where we did get to experience Pandora with the sun down, and we got to see the bioluminescence light up, and we got to experience it in its glory. And talking about it, like, the hair on my arm is standing up, and no joke, Lindsay almost had an out-of-body experience, because that was her first time ever experiencing it. And like Pandora is awe-inspiring during the daytime, but seeing it at night when it is lit up like it is, when the sun goes down and I guess the lights of Pandora come on, it is something to behold. Like I said, it was an out-of-body, almost borderline spiritual experience for Lindsay. It is incredible to see Pandora when those bioluminescence light up, and you see, it's like, oh my God, this is what Disney magic is all about.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, it is. It's like it's the kind of theme park experience you're looking for at a world-class.
Yes, 1000%. Yeah,
amusement park.
Honestly, like Pandora After Dark is worth like the price of admission alone. But like you said, it's like generally like this is something a lot of people don't get to experience, just because it's like, Florida's sun stays out way longer, especially in the spring and summer months. It's like most park goers are not going to be able to experience this unless they just hang out specifically for that experience.
Well, and Animal Kingdom's been sort of closing like during the spring and summer hours before you even get to see Pandora with the sun down. But here's something.
I remember towards the end of Daz Does Disney, the second Daz Does Disney reference. If we say it one more time, it's like Beetlejuice. The podcast will come back, so let's be careful. We did talk about how they just started to do Animal Kingdom after hours and extending the park close. Not only was that big news that they were extending park closing, because that is a full-blown working zoo, because animals need to get their sleep as well, but it's like that, like after hours in Animal Kingdom was kind of unheard of up until recently. Like in the other three parks, yeah, sure, I mean, after hours, sure, cool, whatever, pay extra. But in Animal Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, no, they don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and they've sort of dialed it back again. But here, this article that I've got from Blog Mickey is inspiring hope in me, because basically they're reporting that the vibrant glowing walkways in Pandora are being refreshed right now, and they've got a picture with the headline, and you can actually see that basically what it is it's paint that they use that is blacklight activated on the walkways, and it has definitely faded over the years since Pandora has been open, but this is actually giving me some hope. Why would they be going back and doing this unless there's potential that coming very soon, and maybe as we get into the spring and summer, that Animal Kingdom hours are going to get extended after dark so that we can actually see Pandora at night more frequently. I would love for that to be the case, and I'm really I'm crossing my fingers that this is a sign that maybe this is going to happen, because it is. It's experiencing it in the day, just like you said, Landon, is great. After the sun goes down, being in Pandora is like a whole nother level. So
it really is.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I have no confirmation that that's the case. I'm just saying, why would they be investing in this? This seems like it would be unnecessary if they didn't necessarily plan to be able to show it to you at nighttime. So that's my thoughts.
And that does make sense that they would be reinvesting if they are going to be making a push back towards after hours in Animal Kingdom, because I mean, it's like, yeah, you can go ride Expedition Everest at night. But outside of that, what are you really going to be drawing people to do when it comes to Animal Kingdom? Unfortunately, they're not going to be running. They're probably not going to be running safaris at night. Now, I would pay all the money, all my Disney dollary dues, to see a dark or a evening safari, see some different animal activity that we normally get. But at the same time, I mean, I highly doubt they would do that. So it's like you have Expedition Everest, and then you have everybody that's going to be hanging out in Pandora. So that would make sense that they would be putting the literal shine in this instance into Pandora.
Yeah. So it makes my little heart happy, and I'm hoping against hope that we are heading into a season and maybe a summer of after dark, after sundown, Animal Kingdom hours. You all know Animal Kingdom is one of my favorite places to be, just to hang out. And I'm looking forward to that. It's very, very good.
All day, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this next article we're going to talk about is a revisiting of something we've been tracking, a little construction project that's been going on in front of Muppet Vision 3D. And there's not much to say about this other than they've now added some exterior theming to this building that is located at the corner of Grand Avenue and the Muppets Park area. The kiosk now features the words "Ice Cold Hydraulics, Los Angeles, California." So,
all right.
I guess that just means it's going to be a Coke stand.
Yeah, I mean, like they had a chance to lean into the Muppet theming because it's right there in the area of Muppets Grand Park, in the shadow of Muppet Vision 3D and Pizza Rizzo, but they're going the other way. But at the same time, it's right there, across the street from the empty building fronts and of what did the
the Grand Avenue.
There it is. Yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just down from Baseline Tap House. So I guess maybe they just figured, we've got a place here for people who want like alcoholic refreshment. Maybe there needs to be another option right here. So I don't know. I guess I held out hopes this was going to be like maybe some kind of new special food kiosk, and maybe they will have something to snack on, but it looks to me like it's going to be more drink based, which is fine. That's fine.
And there does need to be options for those who do want beverages that don't want to partake in the spirits. And when it comes to food options, it's like I'm just thinking right there within the vicinity that it's being built, literally across the way, you can get gelato. You can get your Mickey ice cream bars. You can get your churros. So, I mean, since they have the sweet across the way, maybe they're going to be selling the savory options. I don't know.
It could be. You know what it also could be? Epcot has a little spot like this where they sell frozen Cokes and like slushy type stuff. It could be that.
All right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very possible.
Yeah. So
especially with the ice cold emphasis. Yeah. Frozen drinks would make sense.
So it's possible. It gets hot in Florida. So
what are your sources on that?
Myself living here.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, generally in the news business, we need two sources, but you know, we can run with that one.
All right. Well, just go with me on this one.
Okay.
So that little piece, we'll move on from that little piece of news. It's just a little update since we've been talking about it. And last time, you know, we had Skipper Bob on and essentially it was a slow news week. And there wasn't much to say other than they've got brick on the outside of the building. So
they're doing something.
Yeah. This gives us a little bit more.
Yeah. Our reporter on scene says that they've moved brick. The editor says, "Good job, Skip. Now bring me pictures of Spider-Man."
Last piece of news is Monorail news. And if you know us, I mean, we are the Monday Morning Monorail podcast, so we cannot skip over any Monorail news.
It's our gimmick, baby.
It is. We got to lean into it. The monorails. Now, I think we would all agree that we hoped that as part of all of the work that they were doing, like the Epcot work and the 50th anniversary and everything that was going on the last few years, that maybe we were going to get a new fleet of technologically impressive, high-tech monorails that would make us all proud. Unfortunately, Disney decided to go with the less expensive option of just refurbishing the fleet. So the first round of monorail refurbishments were actually completed back in August of 22. And really, if you want to break down what that was, they redid the interiors. They kind of leaned into the monorail colors. So, for example, if you're in Monorail Red, each one of the cars on the back side of the monorail will say like Monorail Red. And so they themed like the interior a little more to the color of the monorail. They also added the cool Fast and Furious lights underneath the monorails. Which
Is that what they're called now?
That's what I've been calling them.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Ground effects on the monorails makes them look fast.
Oh yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
But they are cool. I'm glad they did that. That in my mind, out of the things that happened for the 50th. Number one, the change that we all love that I hope stays forever, and I think it probably will, is the beacon of magic lights that they put on Spaceship Earth. That's number one for everyone.
Agreed.
Number two for me is the lights under the monorails. I think they're so cool. I like it.
They do look cool, and now that you mention it, I have been thinking those monorails do seem more to be about family than they were previously.
Right.
So, you know.
So what we're reporting now, and this is a heavy Blog Mickey episode. Blog Mickey's got this article. And I guess there's a few of the monorails that needed a second round of refurbishment. So as of this taping, Monorail Peach has been removed from service and will undergo multi-week or multi-month refurbishment before it returns to the fleet this spring. Don't know what exactly they're doing to it. Who knows? I would hope updating like the airflow and air conditioning. That would be nice. Because those monorails can still get pretty musty.
Yeah, they can. They really, really can.
Yeah. So I will say, like, if you're comparing transportation options at Disney, and going just based on airflow, like if you were ranking them on comfort, climate, airflow, number one is the Skyliner, and it's not even close. I mean, okay, you could say boat, but if you were on a boat, you could still be like in the hot, humid. Those things don't. I mean, they get enough speed where you get a little wind, but I don't think it's anywhere near. Like you get in the Skyliner and that wind swirls around as long as they're moving, and it feels great.
Yes, with the caveat, as long as they're moving.
Yeah, when they're in motion.
But if they come to a stop, the air kind of stagnates, and then also the anxiety starts rising.
Yeah,
and then you start eyeing your other Skyliner passengers, and you're like, "Is this going to be an alive situation?"
Well, never fear, because they do have the emergency packs underneath the seats if you need.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
A bag of water or a place to relieve yourself in front of your Skyliner.
So you're fine.
Your
you're
other
fine.
Skyliner
You don't
riders.
have to eyeball which one of your Skyliner friends you're going to eat first. Or rather, you shouldn't. I'm not telling you how to do your Disney. Actually, no. In this instance, I am telling you how to do your Disney trip. Don't eat your fellow visitors to Walt Disney World.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
I think we can all. That's a statement we can definitely stand by.
Yes,
Here.
we here on the Monday Morning Monorail podcast are anti-cannibalism.
Yeah.
And we're not afraid to say it.
Forever. We take a very hard stance against that, for sure.
Unless...
No, there's no unless.
Nope, yep. There's no unless. ... Or is there?
No unless. No unless. So that's all the Walt Disney World news. I think the big headline for me, I know none of that was like earth shattering, but the big headline for me this week is that Mardi Gras at Universal has begun officially.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Mardi Gras is officially underway at Universal. That is such a cool event.
Oh, yeah. February 3rd.
It's a very expensive event, as I found out this week, because me and Smoke and our girlfriend got our tickets and paid like $170 a person to go down.
Oof. Those are Disney
Holy
prices.
guacamole. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
worth it, though.
I mean, it's expensive for sure. They definitely are doing the surge pricing. I think based on the timing of your trip, maybe I guess they're just thinking people are going to be down for President's Day weekend, right? So,
like, honestly, that's what I'm thinking, because like I could not believe the price that they were quoting us. Like we were originally interested, like getting park hopping options, because Lindsay is a giant Harry Potter fan, so of course she wants to ride the dope ass Harry Potter train, as it's called. And we looked into that, and it's like it was $220 for a park hopping ticket for one day. It's like, okay, well that seems a lot. Let's see what the one day option is, and it was like $160, $170 or something. It's like, okay, I'm just going to like glance through the rest of the year, with the exception of spring break week, which is the last week of March, beginning of April, and then I want to say the week of Christmas into New Year. These were the highest one-day prices that Universal was quoting when we bought our tickets. February 3rd, 2024.
yeah.
It was kind of sticker shock. And it
Yeah.
was one of those things, it's like, oh, if we really didn't want to do this, we would not be doing this. But I think that speaks to the quality of Mardi Gras at Universal. It is so much fun. And it's part of our anniversary trip. It's part of what made our trip last year so much fun. I mean, we ran into Skipper Bob when we were down there. We got to watch the parade with him and his kids and hang out with them, and that was awesome. We got to eat some of the food, which, by the way, the foodie guide. I know that's more of a Disney term. The foodie guide for that is now out there, and it looks incredible.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good things. A lot of highlights coming back from previous years, and some really interesting new things as well. Of course, my eyes always go to the Bloody Mary kiosk.
Yes, yeah. It's one of those Bloody Marys that they put like an appetizer on top of your drink, which is just phenomenal.
Yeah, you got to get the big one. It comes with all the accoutrement.
You get like a Slim Jim, a piece of bacon, shrimp, tomatoes,
a chicken wing,
birthday cake, a Cessna plane, an accountant to do your taxes. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's true. Landon, when you and Lindsay go, you will have an opportunity to ride those parade floats on the day of your visit to Universal. Now, this is something that they've started doing the last couple of years, where you can use the app and check to see in the morning if they've got spots available to actually ride the floats and throw beads. So
really,
yeah, I highly recommend that's something you do. It's a different user interface, but a similar thing to doing a virtual queue at Disney. You log on to the app and you try to see if you can grab a spot that morning.
I thought this was something that was only exclusive to APs.
No, so it says pass holders can sign up via the pass holder reservation tool. Additionally, a select number of spots will be available each day for any guest to sign up via virtual line in the official Universal Orlando app.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's a fun new addition.
Yeah, that they did it last year. I think last year might have been the first year they did that day of virtual queue thing. But yeah, it's back this year. So check it out and see if you guys can do that. I think you'd have a good time for sure.
And also, we would be out of bead danger because there was a couple times last year that I almost lost an eye because people just apparently knew how to wing it just right, that I almost caught beads rotating right at my eye line. It was bring sunglasses if you're gonna go to the Mardi Gras parade.
Safety goggles. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
For those who are interested, the Mardi Gras event will go from February 3rd all the way to April 7th, 2024. Lots of opportunities to check it out, try the food, watch the parade. The parade's phenomenal, and maybe ride a float and be part of the parade, which is a very cool thing that you can do.
And the parade's included in your price to Universal Studios.
Yeah, and they do it every day. Every day.
Every day. Yep.
So I guess it would be subject to weather. If it was like a downpour, they're probably not going to do it. But otherwise, they're going to do it. Last thing. Now, this is just because we have to mention SeaWorld at least once an episode. So we're going to do it. This is our mention of SeaWorld today. And
2 more times and we're the official podcast of SeaWorld, baby.
Yeah. It's funny to me. I always find SeaWorld articles on mynews13.com, which is a Spectrum News 13 website. And today is no different. So that's the source.
I wonder if there's some sort of maybe ownership financial tie between Spectrum and SeaWorld.
I think that's very possible. So apparently SeaWorld is going to change its corporate name. The Orlando-based theme park operator announced Tuesday that its corporate name will become United Parks and Resorts effective February 12th. Our new company name, United Parks and Resorts Incorporated, better reflects that we have been and will continue to be a diverse collection of park brands and experiences, CEO Mark Swanson said in a statement. SeaWorld operates 12 parks across the U.S., including Florida, Texas, and California, as well as one in Dubai. The corporate name change will not affect the names of the company's parks, as SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, and Aquatica will keep their names. Now, so this is interesting to me because I think all of us are very well aware that SeaWorld got a very big black eye back years ago. There's always been a lot of controversy around their treatment and housing, I guess you would say, especially of like the orcas, the killer whales, and some of the other sea life that they have. But the Blackfish documentary was like,
that was a massive black eye.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah, and I think SeaWorld has really tried over the last 10 years to change directions and change image quite a bit. It's interesting to me that right now they're saying SeaWorld will retain the name. And I think it will for a while, but I think it has to cross their mind because there are a lot of people out there who have not shaken the image, that damaged reputation that they have in their mind over SeaWorld and the whole orca situation. And I don't know that it ever will for some of those people, but I would think that SeaWorld has to consider, or has considered, should we just totally rebrand at some point? And so I don't know. It's just interesting to me that they're making this change. Their new stock exchange symbol will change from SEAS or C's to PRKS, Perks or Parks, on February 13th. So I don't know.
There's a lot of interesting thoughts that cross my mind here. Interesting that they didn't do this when the Blackfish documentary came out, because like you said, it's like that was a pretty damning thing about the entire SeaWorld operation as a whole. But kind of what you were talking about, if they're going to rebrand, even with the damaged reputation that SeaWorld has, the SeaWorld name still does have a lot of cachet. and it seems like they may have weathered the storm.
Yeah.
For the lack of a better term. Yeah, some people may have been turned off, but SeaWorld still has people coming to the parks, both in Florida and Texas and in California, and apparently one in Abu Dhabi. I don't know how well people go to the Abu Dhabi park. I'm not very plugged into the Abu Dhabi theme park world, if I'm being completely honest. But it's like people still show up to the Florida one. I know that.
Yeah.
So, like even with the bruising that the SeaWorld reputation took through the Blackfish documentary, it does still have some cachet, some brand name recognition. So I would be surprised with the rebranding if eventually we saw them move away from the SeaWorld name.
Yeah.
That's just me, though. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I guess it's sort of one of those things. Time heals all wounds. And
exactly.
As long as they can, they continue to lean into their conservation efforts and different things like that, then you're right. Maybe they don't have to take that step of totally changing the park name.
I think maybe they changed their name to United Parks and Resorts Incorporated because they want people to confuse them with Universal Studios.
Yeah, could be.
They'd just be like, oh, wow, y'all got that Super Mario World? Wait, what the hell are all these fishes?
That would be very confusing to some people. And by the way, I just wanted to look it up. Blackfish came out in 2013, so I was pretty spot on with that 10-year comment. I'm going to give another pat on the back for old Justin Monorail.
Exactly. We drop nothing but facts here on the podcast. I don't care what you heard. ... at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah. All right, Landon. That's the news.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
There was a news story I forgot to talk about last week, and almost forgot to talk about this week. We got a new AP magnet over at Disney.
Oh, that's true. Magnet news.
Yeah, magnet news. What everybody comes to the podcast for. We got a hey magnet because Disney doesn't do anything with Moana at all. like Disney, maybe you should think about doing something with Moana. But anyway, if you're an annual pass holder, you can go to, Creation Shop there in Epcot, show them your AP and a government-issued ID, and pick up your Hey magnet through, I believe it's, beginning of April, I think? I don't know.
They always say that, or as long as supplies last.
While supplies last.
Yeah.
Get in while the getting is good.
And it's funny because the day that this magnet debuted, there was this ridiculously long line of pass holders.
Always is.
Lining up to get the magnet. And I think Disney does a pretty good job of keeping a good stock of these things. So you don't need to be a day one magnet grabber unless it's just like... it's your white whale, going back to Blackfish. This is your white whale of magnets, then go get in that line. But otherwise... Or
unless this is the end of your trip and you just happen to be an AP or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Then in that case, go stand in line for 2.5 hours for a hey magnet.
Yeah, we're going to take a break. And when we come back... we are going to start celebrating Black History Month here on this podcast, and we are going to shine the spotlight on an Imagineer that works for Walt Disney, the Walt Disney Company, that has had a huge impact on the parks, recently inducted into the Inventor Hall of Fame. If you know who I'm talking about, you may have seen some of these videos shared, but we're going to get into it on the other side, so stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Monorail. It's me, Justin Monorail, Papa Monorail, and I am here side by side with my brother, Landon the Doane, and we are back to get into the story of a very, very impressive man, someone who's made a huge impact to Walt Disney World for the last 25 years, and that man is none other than Lanny Smoot. I'll be honest, Landon. Before Disney started sharing videos about Lanny Smoot, and it was right when it was announced that he was going to be inducted into the Imagineer Hall of Fame, I was not aware of Lanny Smoot. I didn't know his biography. I didn't know much about him. And after reading about him and learning about his contributions, I have nothing but the utmost respect for this guy. I mean, he's contributed as much, if not more, than any Imagineer who's come before him to the experiences we have in the Walt Disney World and Disney just parks all over the globe.
Yeah, I will admit the same. News broke, I guess, mid-January that Lanny Smoot was being inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And until, like you said, Disney did start shining a light on him and highlighting his accomplishments as an Imagineer, I had no idea just what he was a part of, what his fingerprints were on when it comes to the Walt Disney World Corporation. And I mean, I know we've talked about like Tony Baxter, Joe Rohde, other quote unquote rock star Imagineers. I think we now have to put Lanny Smoot up there in the same breath with those other rock star Imagineers.
Yeah.
I mean, like this is one of, if not the greatest of all time when it comes to WDI's alumni.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, so Lanny, the big announcement came that in May, Thursday, May 9th, in Washington, D.C., Smoot and his fellow class of 2024 inductees will be honored by the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And this is a really standout achievement for Lanny because only one other person in the Walt Disney Company has ever been inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame, and he wasn't an Imagineer technically. That person was Walt Disney himself, and that honor happened posthumously. It happened in 2000, and it was specifically for the invention of the multiplane camera. But now this achievement.
So this Walt Disney guy, you think he had any good ideas?
I think he had a few. I mean, you know, he probably had some bad ones too, but he had enough good ones that, you know, he contributed pretty significantly. We wouldn't.
In here, he had an idea for a talking rat. I don't know about that one, Jay. Don't know about that one.
I don't know if that's going to go over well.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, but
people don't like rats.
But I mean, putting Lanny Smoot side by side with Walt Disney, I mean, that says a lot.
I mean, holy crap.
Yeah. All of us, when we think of, like, we have this reverence. If you are a fan of the Disney movies, animated classics over the years, or even the live action movies over the years, if you're a fan of the theme parks, I think all of us who really are like Disney nerds have a sense of reverence around Walt Disney. And I mean, there's a reason for that. He had a huge impact to our world and pop culture and entertainment. But now I really think that a person like Lanny Smoot should be considered when we think about those people, like you said, among the greats, Tony Baxter and Wally Crump and all these guys, because he has contributed as much, and I said this before, as much, if not more, to the experiences that we have in the parks, as much as any of these guys. Just looking at the rundown. So he now has, I think it's up to like 106 official patents have been filed under his name. 74 of those were created during his 25 years with the Walt Disney Company. And you may not see all of the impacts for all, you know, everything that he does all the time. It may not be something huge like some crazy new effect that just blows your mind. It may be little things, but it could be something like, oh, I don't know, the first ever expandable lightsaber that you saw.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. He convinced so many people. It's like, yeah, I wanna go to the Star Wars hotel.
Yeah.
Do you remember your initial reaction when you saw that video?
Oh yeah.
When they broke out that lightsaber, and you're like, Jay, all right, mark time, because I know we normally don't swear on this and you're going to have to edit it. They made a lightsaber.
Yeah.
That was him.
Amazing.
He did that.
Yeah.
He did that.
He did it. And Ray, like, if anyone was on the Galactic Star Cruiser, they saw Ray with her blue lightsaber igniting it, and it would extend, and it looked real. It looked screen real. Mm-hmm. The first time I saw it was Josh D'Amaro. I think it must have been at a D23 or something. He brought it out, and of course, Daddy D'Amaro gets the first use of the lightsaber. But man, being a Star Wars fan, I mean, that was one of those moments that you get chills thinking about, like, wow, I know it's not like a real laser, but holy crap, that looks like the real thing.
And everybody started like looking in their bank account. It's like, yeah, I think I could save up to go stay at the Star Wars hotel. And then you saw how much they asked for. It's like, okay, I can't save up to go stay at the Star Wars hotel. But in that initial moment, and yeah, it was Josh D'Amaro breaking out the working lightsaber. It's like, oh my God, they made a lightsaber.
Yeah, that was a big mind-blowing
They made a
moment.
lightsaber. That was and that was Mr. Smoot.
It was. Another thing, if you're a fan of the Haunted Mansion and you've been riding the Haunted Mansion for years and years and years, you know the Madame Leota scene like the back of your hand. And it may have been for many, many years you went through there and you saw Madame Leota and her crystal ball sitting on the table. Well, now, miraculously, Madame Leota flies around the room in her crystal ball while you go through the seance room. And that is another Lanny Smoot creation. So those are the kinds of things that are in your face that are obvious, but there's so much more behind the scenes that he doesn't get credit for, but we experience and get the benefit of anytime we're in the parks. Really phenomenal.
I know Disney, unfortunately, due to cost-cutting issues, is kind of shying away from making original content for Disney Plus when it comes to documents and stuff like this. I would love a document on Lanny, not only his work, but also his life, just telling his story, highlighting and ending with him receiving this award later in May. I would love to watch this.
I really hope something like that is in the works for him. He absolutely deserves it. And
I mean, two plus decades with the Disney company, and he's done so much and been so influential without a lot of us Disney fans realizing it until now, when he's finally getting his flowers.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, getting his flowers.
Absolutely. I also want to point out that Smoot is the recipient of many awards and honors, including 3 Thea Awards from the Themed Entertainment Association for his work on attractions, including Finding Nemo's Submarine Voyage at Disneyland, Kim Possible World Showcase Adventure, which I was a big fan of before they changed it over to Phineas and Ferb, and as well as the Ghost Post limited time experience inspired by the Haunted Mansion. But here's something that really stood out to me about Lanny Smoot, and I think this says a lot about him and who he is. When deciding which of his patents to highlight as part of his National Inventors Hall of Fame induction, Smoot selected Where's the Fire at Innoventions. Previously featured at Epcot, this interactive exhibit promoted fire prevention through engaging challenges. Guests shined a special flashlight on the walls of a house, and through the magic of his technology, exposed hidden fire dangers and learned how to prevent them from happening. Landon, did you ever go in the Where's the Fire in Innoventions?
Never experienced it, but I've seen videos of it because, I'm a giant Disney nerd and I want to see stuff that I never got to experience it. But you got an audible gasp from me when I had no idea that he was a part of that, and of everything that he chose to highlight for his induction, that is what he highlighted. It was not only an amazing piece of technology that he was a part of, it kind of goes with what Walt wanted for Epcot. It was edutainment.
Yeah.
It taught people a lesson. It's like, hey, you need to watch out for this stuff, otherwise it could burn your house down.
Exactly.
And
yeah. Learning, but make it fun. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what this was. This one, Where's the Fire, stands out to me because I remember when I was able to take McKenna and May to Epcot on our first family trip back in 2014. Innoventions was a shell of its former self, but it was still open at the time. And Where's the Fire is specifically one of the things that we did together. So pretty cool. I mean, that's like, it does have that moment in my history as well. So really, really cool that we got to do that before it was gone. And now it even has like additional meaning. So really awesome. And I want to wrap it up as we continue to talk about Smoot's achievements. The current one that they have been highlighting on the videos, like the one that came back in January, and there's been another one for Black History Month. They put a new one out, I think. And it's the current project, the Hollow Tile Floor, the world's first multi-person omnidirectional modular expandable treadmill floor. It allows any number of people... It allows any number of people to have a shared virtual reality experience, walk an unlimited distance in any direction and never collide or walk off its surface. The hollow tile floor can also be an insert in a theatrical stage, allowing performers to move and dance in new ways, or stage props and structures to move around and appear to set themselves up.
Did not realize that is what it was called, but seeing that in... I guess action, for the lack of a better term, in video, it is an incredible piece of technology. Yeah. And it really, truly, I know this term is kind of cliche and thrown around a lot. It truly could be a game changer in so many aspects of our lives.
Yeah. I was thinking about like, if anybody got to experience it before it left Disney Springs, they had this really cool VR experience called The Void.
Yes. Oh my God, The Void. I did the Star Wars experience.
Me too, and it was amazing.
So good. So good.
Yeah, it's sad that it's not there anymore because it had repeatability and they had different experiences you could do. I never got to do the Wreck-It Ralph one, and that makes me really sad. But
they had a Wreck-It Ralph one? That would have been dope.
Yeah, and they've got an Avengers one. It used to be the Avengers one, I think, was at the Mall of America. And then they had a Ghostbusters one in New York.
Yeah, I remember hearing about the Ghostbusters one, but I mean, kind of like you, I think the Star Wars one kind of set up residency there in Disney Springs.
Yeah, and it was great, but it was
phenomenal.
But it did take up a lot of room because you physically had to move.
Had to walk through the rooms.
Room to room to do it.
But I mean, still, it's like my brain told me, it's like, dude, you are walking over a catwalk of the lava pits of Mustafar.
Yeah.
You are not in a strip mall in Orlando, Florida.
Right.
You need to be very careful, otherwise you will plummet to your death.
Yeah. Yeah, it was incredible.
Me and a dad and his small child from Australia, we stopped the Empire that day. It was incredible.
Oh, and you remember, like, another cool thing, I'll geek out about the Void because I thought it was so good, but you actually wore like a vest and you're shooting a gun at stormtroopers, and when you get shot, it actually had haptic response so you could feel yourself getting shot. That was 1000%. So cool.
Yeah, so you were totally hunkered down, taking cover, trying not to get virtually shot because you didn't want to get that kickback. Because it's like, yeah, okay, your brain was telling you you're not going to get shot by a laser, but your body was also telling you, don't get shot by the laser.
Yeah. Ah, man, but I'm just thinking of the application of this hollow tile.
With the hollow tile, that would have been incredible.
Yeah, something like that. Again, stage use is unlimited, I think, for theaters. Man,
because I mean, it's like I'm humble brag here before I go on my trip to Orlando. I mean, look at our girlfriend. We're going to Atlanta to see Hamilton. When Hamilton travels around, they have to take their special stage because it has a rotating part of the stage. And I mean, hell, it's like Wicked just came through Knoxville. They have, well, this doesn't really apply, but it's more like, big giant freaking dragon that hangs above the crowd. But in particular, Hamilton in the center of the stage, there's a rotating part. Maybe with the hollow tile, they could use that instead of having to ship around a giant piece of an overlay of the stage.
Yeah.
I mean, like for stage purposes, that could be a game changer. I didn't even think about that until we were talking about it. That's great.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's so cool. And I think what it shows is Smoot still has a lot more to give to
And he's still he's still in the game. We talked about, Joe Rody. We talked about T to the B, Tony Baxter. We talked about other great.
I think I called him Wally Crump, but isn't it Raleigh Crump?
Raleigh Crump. But we mentioned those Imagineers. They're kind of out of the game at this point. Mr. Smoot is still plying his trade and still going strong. This is not a posthumous award. This is a guy that is still going strong, and I am excited to see what he will continue to do for the Disney company. This is an award that I am just discovering is long overdue.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing very cool about Lanny is that he one of the things he loves to do is inspire people to follow their dreams of inventing and working with technology. He's a huge proponent of STEAM programs, especially for students of color. He does mentorships with students, and he recently served as a judge for an innovation challenge for historically black colleges and universities put on by Disney on the Yard.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
Reaching out that hand to pull others up. Very good. So man, it almost feels like we haven't said enough about him, but holy crap. I hope you've learned a little more about Lanny Smoot today. I hope you have a new appreciation for him, just like we have. And I want to say this is just our first feature. We're going to do this hopefully for the next couple of podcasts as we're in Black History Month. We want to shine a light on the black people, the people of color who have contributed in a big way to the parks that maybe we didn't realize. And it's time to appreciate those people and really embrace the diversity.
And like I said, I really hope Disney has something put together for Lanny Smoot leading up to him accepting this award, because this is long overdue, and I would love a retrospective documentary type thing about his work with the Disney company and what he wants to do going forward, because I mean, like his body of work is incredible, almost next to none.
Yeah. I think it says something that no other Imagineer has this honor.
Exactly. Yeah. It's him and Walt when it comes to Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Walt Disney and Lanny Smoot. That's it for the Walt Disney Company.
Pretty incredible.
Man. Bravo, Lanny. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Get your flowers, dude. You deserve them.
Yeah. Next month next week. I don't think we're going to take a month off. Next week, I would like to focus on Charita Carter. And so if you want to do a little read up before then, you can check into Charita Carter. She's actually the lead Imagineer behind the upcoming Princess and the Frog Tiana's Bayou Adventure in the Magic Kingdom. So we'll focus on her, and I'm looking forward to that discussion.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And there seems to be some stuff happening with that attraction as well. So who knows what's going to break between this Monday and next Monday as well. So that'll be fun. Definitely.
All right. Well, I think we wrap this one up for today. Landon, thanks for joining me as always. Let's let people know where they can find you on the internet.
Well, before we let people know where they can find me on the internet, if they want to get involved in the conversation, they can join the Monorail fam, not only on the Facebook, but also in the Discord, where we had some people weigh in on last week's question of the week.
Oh, very true. Very true. We did get some suggestions for you. And thanks to those who did that over on the Monorail Discord. Again, if you want to join the Monorail fam Discord, it's open to anybody who wants to join. Just send me a note. You can do that you can go to the website morningmonorail.com and do the contact us page and just send me a note. Say you'd like to be on the Discord. All I need is your email address. Or you can join the Monday Morning Monorail family group on Facebook and just send me a message there or let me know in the group. But yeah, thanks to Cocktail Bob, Lexi, and Lewis and Natalie, even though Natalie just made a joke and ran away. But Lexi gave you some good ones. Did you have a chance to go through that list?
Yes, I did. Lexi threw out Petals at Pop Resort, Violet Sake, Japan and Epcot, Moonshine Sour at America and Epcot, a lot of Epcot. The Grand Mariner Slushy, as I like to call it, phenomenal. I'm a big fan of that one. The France Pavilion in Epcot. The Ice Cream Martini, also in France and Epcot. I'm not familiar with that one. Definitely going to have to try it. The Lychee Cha-Cha with Blueberry Boba in China in Epcot. I don't know how to dance, so I don't know if I can drink that one. Space 220 in Epcot. I wanted to bring this one up in particular. I've yet to go to Space 220. I remember when it first opened, there were some kind of less than great reviews, but then some people started to come back around on it. Where do we as a podcast land on Space 220, Jay?
I personally like Space 220. I got to go there with Lewis and Val to have the dining experience, but I will say, now that you can, I think you have to make reservations for it still. Again, people, I may be wrong about this. Don't rake me over the coals. But it used to be that you could walk up. It used to be that you could walk up and go to the Space 220 lounge, but I think now you have to make a reservation for it. And I would recommend trying that if you can, because then you're not locked into the prefix menu. You can get like some small plates, and then you can try some of the cool cocktails. The cocktails are good. It's a very cool environment. Getting to go up the little space elevator to the restaurant is very cool. So I think it's cool, and I recommend it.
Okay. All right. Well, I might try and, like I said, me and Smoking Hot Girlfriend, we got 2 days in Epcot. I might try and make us at least a reservation for Space 220, see if we can get some drinks up in the atmosphere, so to speak, because it's like I've always been interested in taking in the experience, not necessarily because they're still on a prefix menu, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, hate that crap, Disney. Knock it off. Lexi then suggests the Banana Cabana at Caribbean Beach Resort. Also, fun fact, Banana Cabana is what I call my groin. Scat Cat in Port Orleans French Quarter Resort. Resort? But she gives the caveat when a live band is scheduled. Yaha Bob when scheduled at Port Orleans Riverside. And then finally, she suggests the Martini Flight at the Brown Derby in Hollywood Studio, and I will echo that as well. That is my go-to drink when I go to the Hollywood Studios Brown Derby, and I and the Smoking Hot Girlfriend have a reservation for that, and I foresee a Martini Flight in my future.
Yeah. And just so you know, I did follow up. The Space 220 Lounge, you do have to make a reservation for it. I'm checking the dates that you're going to be here, and right now there's nothing available for two. So it's always one of those things where it's worth checking just to see if something changes. But
yeah, walk-up options, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is a popular place, and it's hard to get on the list. So if that's something you want to try, make sure that you look way out ahead of your trip and try to schedule it when it becomes available to you, like 60 days out or whatever that is now.
That does make sense, and also I'm gonna be completely honest. I kind of forgot Space 220 was around. So,
it's kind of
a whoopsie poopsie on my part.
It is. So. If you aren't aware of it, I will say this: it is kind of hidden in Epcot. Like if you aren't trying to get there, you could totally miss it. So. Yeah, hey, that's no surprise.
Look at that. We started with a whoopsie poopsie on your part, and now we're ending the podcast with a whoopsie poopsie on my part.
Yeah. By the way, Yeehaw Bob, when scheduled, is very, very fun at Port Orleans. I think Scat Cat is a cool place. Lexi recommends going when a live band is scheduled. I would recommend the opposite because it gets very loud in there and it's hard to talk, unless you are interested in seeing the live music.
Okay, well then I will go with your recommendation, because I'm at my point in my life where it's like, okay, this is fun, but it's like I just want to talk. It's like this is way too loud. Why? What?
Yeah.
What?
Exactly. So I go on the side. I am old now. I like to see live bands too, but if I'm going with some friends, sometimes it's just, we want to have a conversation. So I don't know that I want the live music.
Exactly.
Banana Cabana is a good recommendation, and you can do that as part of a Skyliner crawl if you're interested in doing such a thing.
Wait, you can go to my groin as part of a Skyliner crawl?
I mean, if people wanted to do that, I'm sure that they could.
Ladies, wait, no, my girlfriend's going to listen to this podcast. She'll be pissed if she hears that.
And then I would just say,
edit that part out. No.
Pedals, the Pop Century. That's the poolside bar, and sure, I'll just say sure. I think that one must. I think that must have. It must have some sentimental connection to Lexi, because I don't know. I don't know why that would stand out as a recommendation aside, from just having the sentimental connection to it. I had
Cocktail Bob throws out Topolino's bar. We were looking at that one maybe as a possible sit-down restaurant option. Jay, thoughts on that?
That one I love. Yes. It's nice because Topolino, another place where it's hard to get a reservation, but you can walk up to the bar, and you can order from the entire menu, and the bartenders there are top notch. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We have not been there. We've been to Bar Riva, so we might venture up to the top and check out Topolino's then. Yeah.
And then Cocktail Bob also, he threw in another for Three Bridges, and the Dahlia Lounge, which I haven't been to. Landon, have you been to Geyser Point at Wilderness Lodge?
I think you and I went to Geyser Point at one point. We went and watched that vaunted Tennessee-Georgia State football game.
Yes. Okay. You were there for that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a bad football experience. And if I'm being honest, it was a bad customer service experience. So probably won't be going back.
Oh, I don't remember that. I love Geyser Point. That's one of my favorite.
The bartenders were kind of douchebags.
I think that was a one-off. You got to give some of these places another shot, I think. And I know Abracadabra maybe you won't be back there anytime soon. But
when I'm freaking getting into a metal tube that's being thrown into the air at 500 miles an hour to travel down, I understand it might be a one-of, but that might be the only time that I'm going down, dude.
That's just unfortunate because you're missing. Like Geyser Point is like I would say 90% of the people that go there, the food is good and it's good drinks and it's such a good location. Like it
is a great atmosphere. I will give you that, being right on the water. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess you'd get a somewhat similar experience if you do try Three Bridges. So.
Okay. All right. Well, and I know Lewis also mentioned Three Bridges as well. So that might be something to check out as well.
Cocktail Bob's recommendation for T-Rex bar is funny to me. I never considered going into T-Rex for a drink, but
that's two for T-Rex. Yeah.
So yeah, lots of good places. Natalie's.
Thank y'all. I appreciate that, and we'll I guess give you a report if people like that stuff on podcasts. I don't know.
And of course, I just have to mention Natalie said Nomad Lounge. Hilarious. Like we've never
heard of it. Not that I'm the king of the Nomad or anything.
So, all right. Now tell people where they can get at you on the internet.
Landoz, please go follow me, Landon Doane. I'm the best, Landon Doane, not the rest. That's where you can follow me. 280 characters at a time on Twitter. I also appear on The Phil Show, News Talk 98.7 WOKI, radio station locally here in Knoxville, Tennessee, streaming 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern, Eastern, and 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern. Oh, my God. I just broke my brain.
Standard?
6 to 10 a.m. Eastern.
Time? What's happening?
Eastern. I don't know. Oh, my God.
Landon, do we need to call an ambulance?
I think I need to lay down. Eastern time. Also available in the News Talk 987 app as well. And the iHeartRadio app as well. My brain hurts and my nose is bleeding, so I might be dying. No.
Uh-oh.
No, my nose isn't bleeding. It's just my ears. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh my goodness
what
gracious!
Just happened?
I have never in my time podcasting with you seen a short circuit quite like that. Wow.
Remember that part where I said I talk for a living? I don't make a good living. No.
I think we're going to leave that in, though. That was very interesting.
Oh, 1,000% leave it in. Yeah. Also, and please play it back at my memorial. It will be great.
This was the highlight.
Exactly,
of Landon's performance on the Monday morning.
And then at this point, the pastor will come up and be like, "And Landon laughed right up until the end. Let's remember him how he was."
Well, for me, I am Justin_Monorail on the social medias, and our podcast is Morning Monorail on all of the things. You can check us out. We'd love for you to do it. Tell a friend, leave a review on Apple Podcast. 5 stars are preferred. Thank you very much.
I think you can only leave 5 stars now. They updated the terms of service, so you know.
Well, I prefer that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, and we'll do this whole thing again next time. But until then, happy Black History Month, happy Mardi Gras, happy SeaWorld 7 Seas Food Festival. It's all is happening, and it's all good.
There it is, Eastern Standard Time. I got there. All right.
If you find yourself in the parks between now and then, make sure you thank a cast member. Make sure you thank a team member. Thank customer service people. They work really hard and have to deal with a lot of garbage. So keep that in mind. But most of all, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.